to reconvene the meeting of the Petaluma City Schools Board of Education. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mrs. Ellis.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To remind everybody, now's a good time to put the cell phones on vibrate or turn them off. All right, we're going to jump right into this for the public hearing. Item E, public hearing we held regarding the sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials for 2013 and 2014 for Education Code 60119. Do I have anybody? Open public hearing. Do I have anybody who would like to speak on the sufficiency of textbooks for the year 2013-2014? Seeing no one jump up, public hearing is closed. Going to item F, the adoption and approval of the agenda. I haven't heard any changes, but that doesn't mean somebody hasn't changed their mind. Do I have any changes to the agenda proposed? If not, I'll take a motion to approve it as it's presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will play it as it is. Item G, approval of the minutes of September 24th. Sue, I believe everybody here is eligible to vote on those. Does anybody have any, well, why don't I get a motion in a second and we'll talk about changes.
So moved.
Does anybody have any discussion on the minutes or changes? No? All right, then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved as presented. Thank you, Sue, for the nice presentation of the minutes. All right, special recognition, reports, and presentations. I see we have a mat out here now. This is kind of neat. When do we get the red mat? Is that always coming?
Well, they were using them earlier today to cover the cords.
Very
They're
nice.
just going up this way, and I thought it looked like a red carpet.
It looks very nice.
So-
Stuff like that doesn't get past me. Just want you to know that. All right. Student representatives from Kenilworth and Petaluma Junior High School are going to be here with grant students Lauren Hazel and Johnny Guerra. Johnny, did I say your name correctly? Thank you. Who will report on activities at the respective school sites. So let's start with Grant, please. Do I have somebody to introduce our students?
Good evening. I'm Katina Haugen, principal at Grant, and I am just very happy to introduce Jean Crow with some of her students. Jean is a 6th grade teacher. We try to focus our one visit to the board meeting around curriculum. We try to give you a little bit of insight into what's going on in an elementary campus, so you're going to hear quite a bit about the problem of the month. So Jean is going to introduce her students, and then they will share that with you.
Thank you.
Hi, I've been involved in Project Lead for the last 3 years, learning about the new Common Core and the mathematical practices. So I'm here tonight to introduce Johnny Guerrera and Lauren Hazel, and they're going to be telling you a little bit about what's going on in school, and then more specifically, how we're integrating the Common Core into our programs and all the classrooms.
We just finished our Innisbrook fundraiser and the 2nd and 3rd graders went to action. Some exciting events coming up at Grant are the 6th grade field trip to Westminster Woods Challenge Course, the 5th grade field trip on the Schooner Alma, the Javathon fundraiser, and our annual Halloween parade. We also do a cool math thing called Problem of the Month.
It's a visual aid, right? So you can follow what they're talking about.
For 10th year, we have Problem of the Month. Ms. Haugen gets them from a website called InsideMathematics.org. There are 5 levels. Level A is the easiest and level E is the hardest. 6th graders usually get to level C and D. It depends on the concept and how well we understand the problem. This is our first one. called Measuring Up. There are 3 different stories. A and B are about stone soup. C is about measuring a picture to enlarge or reduce its size for duplicating. D and E are about measuring sticks and comparing meanings. You can see that the entire Petaluma month is about measuring, so it's called Measuring Up. The steps we use to solve the problem are read it, decide what it's about, find the quantities, read it again, ask questions, find out what's important, and then we read it again and find the question we're being asked. In Mrs. Grove's class, we do a poster walk, but the whole school gets to do an activity also. Mrs. Haugen hosts a gallery walk in math morning. We visit the multi-purpose room, sometimes with our buddies, where we look at all the levels and different thinking strategies of all the students. Miss Haugen also has math we can do that connect to the theme of the problem of the month. We think she'll have out measuring sticks like rulers, yardsticks, or measuring cups and pots for the stone soup part of the problem. We like working with partners. We think it makes learning easier. We can see how different people react to different questions. The levels increase, and so you can challenge yourself to the highest level. We always do level A as a whole class, and we start to think about level B and work our way up from there. We like to illustrate our posters, meaning we get to say what we think and communicate the way we want. Our goal is to show other people what we did and make it easy for others to follow along. The answer is just not enough. Now that you've seen our work, do you have any questions about problem of the month?
Do you work with your classmates or different age students that come in different classes?
We usually work in groups with our own class.
And do all the grades do a problem with them?
Yeah. You're all welcome to come and join us on Wednesday, October 23rd for our math morning. Thank you.
Thank you. These might need to go back on the wall somewhere,
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna come get our papers. Thank you.
right? Okay. Very well done. Thank you very much.
You want this one too? Thank you.
Hold on. I'll see you. Well, it was very informative, so thank you very much. We appreciate you coming. We've got the middle schools here tonight. Do I have anybody from Petaluma Junior High?
Hello, board and cabinet members. My name is Kayla Pearson. I'm 7th grade officer, and it is my pleasure to present the PGHS tag report. Our honor band traveled to Cazadero over the weekend of September 27th to spend 2 nights at music camps with musicians from around the county and mentor musicians from Petaluma High School. The weekend culminated with a 2-hour concert under the redwoods. Gratitude to Mr. Bailey and our honor band for their commitment to music programs. In supporting youth, our PJAS girls basketball teams are on a roll. The 7th grade girls team remains undefeated, and the 8th grade team only has 2 losses. Go Lady Bansons! We have also just received news that the 7th grade girls won the game, and the 8th graders are continuing on with theirs. On Friday, October 4th, the students and staff kicked off an annual magazine drive fundraiser. The fundraiser finances our end of the year Discovery Kingdom Reward trip for 8th grade, fun day for our 7th and other teams such as the bike rack enclosure, our new last year student store, spirit activities, and many other valuable items and activities on our campus. Our ASB continues to plan and organize spirit activities during lunch and on Fridays. All grades 6th, 7th, and 8th participate in these fun and creative community building activities. Safe School Ambassadors program takes place in our library on Thursday and Friday this week. Over 40 students from all 3 grades will be trained by Community Matters Safe School Ambassadors staff together with school staff. This program works from the inside out, empowering students with tools and strategies to intervene when they notice bullying, exclusion, prejudice, and other negative behavior occurring among their peers. Over a 3-day period, students and staff nominated a peer group of clip leaders to become ambassadors. I'm also an ambassador. The research-based program is also used at Petaluma High, and we hope to further the connection between schools through this program. In late September, we hosted Professor Susan Victor of Sonoma State University to guide our attending parents and guardians in parent education workshop entitled Overview of Generation and Adolescent Development. This month, on October 24th, the topic is physical and mental health, stress, anxiety, and depression. 25 parents were in attendance at this last workshop, and we hope to have more next time. We have assessed all 800 plus PJHS students with the district's language arts assessment called Renaissance Enterprise. The assessment adapts the students and provides ongoing reading, comprehension, assignment, and detailed reports. Thanks to our amazing computer lab coordinator, Tom Ferriola, for working hard with teachers to test students. And last but not least, more and more PJHS teachers are using Aries Gradebook. Parent feedback about access to students' grades and other information online has been very positive. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Emily White. I'm the ASB Secretary for Petaluma Junior High. Petaluma has started a great year with many exciting activities taking place on campus. We've had students dress up for spirit days, including wearing orange for CJ, a leukemia survivor, on September 27th, and Pink Day for the breast cancer awareness this last Friday. Leadership is also conducting some dances coming up as well. For Halloween and other spirit dresses, we've had 2 award-winning authors visit the PJHS Library on September 16th and October 1st. Catherine J. Ince and Jean Lane dropped by and to talk about lives of authors. The annual Pleasure-Thon is back, and we've raised $25,000 due to take place on October 11th. We had our party for the students who donated. The party will include blow-up bounce items, human hamster balls, face painting stations, food, and much more for our students to enjoy. With the new year comes new teachers, and we're ready to give them a warm Kenilworth cold welcome to our 4 new staff members. Mr. Rajewski is now teaching English. Our new 7th grade drama director, Mr. Wedge and Mrs. Pauls, are now teaching math, and Miss Dudley is teaching science. Lastly, as October begins, 8th grade English starts to prepare for NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month. They've started to sketch ideas for their novels that are due by November 30th at 12 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more presentation, and then after that presentation, what I'll do is call a real quick break. And if you would like to stay, we'd love to have you stay, but I know some of you need to get back and do some more math problems. So let's go over to, is it Kirsten's not here, but?
We're both here.
Oh, okay.
So, good evening, board members. So, Kirsten and I are here tonight representing Bayside, and for a while now in our Bayside Teacher Leadership Group, we have been talking about how important it would be for you to know more about the work that we've been doing. We've been working together since 2008, and much more robustly since we've had Kirsten in our ranks in her current role. So, we've prepared a brief PowerPoint, and we'll just take turns going back and forth, kind of conversationally sharing with you the work that we've done.
We'd also like to send the PowerPoint to you via email if you'd like to see it in more detail at your leisure.
There will be more information than you could possibly take in right now. So, anyway. All righty. See, no pressure. No one can even see us. All righty. So we wanted to start by presenting our vision, and just wanted to point out a couple of really key components to it. One of them is all students. Another is high quality science education. The way that this vision was developed We sat as a Bayside group, Jane and myself. We really talked about what we wanted from our kids, how we wanted them exiting 6th grade and to be ready for junior high and high school and the rigors of what would be next for them, STEM, 4Cs, all of those sorts of things. We listed all of our priorities, and then a group from Bayside helped us to drill down in, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Until we really had clarity as to what we were looking for. And so this is the resulting vision, one in which all of our kids will receive high quality science that will have them ready for the careers that will be forthcoming. We want them to be able to make real life applications of the science, so we're going to teach them to analyze in ways that would translate into whatever kind of work they do. We wanted to give a nod to the 4 C's because we see them, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, as being important to everything that we do. We also know that science is important even more now that we are in the time of Common Core because of the links that are shared between and amongst English language arts, science, and math, and we'll show you more about that later.
Just thought we'd insert this slide as a way to think about science, one of our favorite quotes from Walt Whitman. Some of these slides are slides that we have borrowed from our Bayside work, and we have traced the path of science coming to where we currently are. We are in a place now of the next generation science standards, and we'll be sharing more information with you about those. They've been going right now through a vetting process, and it will be they'll be driving science in the future, and they are tailored to connect with the rest of Common Core. And these are some of the major shifts that next generation science standards are asking of us. I'll let you read through most of those yourselves, but I think number 7, the next generation science standards and the Common Core state standards, ELA and math are aligned. That's super important, especially in the work that the Bayside group is going to do this year, and in working with the district to decide the direction of science education at the elementary ages. Anything else there?
It's been interesting. While we see connections across science, math, and ELA at the elementary level, it is English language arts and science that we see as being the most connected in terms of kids being asked to make and defend an argument, to cite evidence. We're seeing an awful lot of connections there, and that is coming out in the notebooking that we're doing with our students, and some of the things that we've been honing with our Bayside teacher leaders that they're bringing to the rest of their colleagues on Wednesdays.
I would also say the focus that the Common Core standards have on nonfiction reading, expository writing, et cetera, and the fact that we're going to be looking at ELA Common Core standards starting in January, there's going to be a very nice match there.
These are 4 disciplinary core ideas that are going to be carried throughout the curriculum across the grades. This will have some ramifications for junior high and high school eventually. Just as you may have heard in math, we're going to be moving at junior high and high school to a more European model, Math 1, Math 2. Similarly, in the future, science teachers will be teaching not just biology, but rather strands of all of these in a similar fashion to what our elementary teachers do now.
An integrated approach. The next generation science standards are heavy on practices, and practices in a nutshell are asking kids to learn science in a way that scientists do in real life. And if you look at each one of those practices, you can see that there are several of them that are also practices that we do in English language arts and math. So there are, again, some nice overlaps.
We have practices in math as well, so with our Common Core standards, in addition to the standards, we have practices that are focal and that follow kids throughout the years, and the science and engineering are similar.
And the cross-cutting concepts are threaded throughout the core discipline areas and also K-12, and these are kind of like themes. And so the teachers and students will be looking at all of these, and not in isolation. They often overlap within the different units of study as well. But students starting at kindergarten and going all the way to 12th grade will be very familiar with the vocabulary and those themes up there and be able to identify them in their science work as well, again, in their studies of math and English language arts. Again, there are overlaps.
Alrighty, and these three ideas come together: the practices, the core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. They're all a part of the work of NGSS.
And this just is a summary of the notable features. So Common Core state standards and also next generation science standards are really looking to study fewer concepts but at deeper levels. There's been a lot of intentional thinking about the progressions of learning K-12. Engineering and technology is embedded in science and encouraged more and more. And then the topics of ocean evolution, climate change, and earth sciences are back in. Anything about the ocean for the last couple of years, maybe more than the last couple of years, probably 5 or so years. It's been missing in the content, but now it's back. So this leads us to the organization called Bayside, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with it. Bayside was an organization that has been funded privately by the Gordon and Betty Moore organization, as well as Bechtel, and it started in the year 2008. Petaluma City Schools applied to participate in this consortium, and they were granted application with several other districts in the Bay Area. We had a brief time where we were not involved with Bayside, and we're very happy to be involved with them again. A couple of years ago, elementary principals were approached, did we want to continue this work, and we were all very supportive of it. And so we've had administrators who participated in these meetings. Bayside folks have come here to the district office, have come out to school sites, they've been able to lead trainings for us. It's been a very valuable partnership. But I would say that it's truly kind of come to fruition now that we've had Kirsten in her role. That has really helped to bring it back to Petaluma in a way that it didn't before. This is kind of the layout of the organization. So you can see on one side of the pie chart the districts that are involved. And the organizations that support us. Lawrence Hall of Science is generally where we meet now, but we've done a lot of meeting at the Exploratorium. And I always forget what SREI stands for.
It was Science
Education
There you go.
Institutions, yes, other organizations that support the study of science. But largely it's been the Lawrence Hall of Science and Exploratorium. And then on the left-hand corner you can see where our founders are. And then it's all researched by a group called the Inverness Research, and they are constantly observing what goes on in our sessions and surveying us and reporting back to the funders to let them know how it's going.
They've been out to school sites, to the classrooms of teacher leaders, to observe their lessons and to interview them about the changes that they've seen in their teaching and student learning as a result of participation. I also want you to know that we regularly send thank yous to the Bechtels and the Moores for their support. So. Alrighty, so the framework and then the next generation science standards. And so as with Common Core, there's still more work to do. Assessments, curricula, instruction, and teacher development. We're very relieved to know that FOSS, a curriculum that we already have adopted, meets a lot of these needs really well. However, some of the curriculum has shifted to different years, and so as we sort that out, we're going to be trading boxes. We have kits in which all of the materials come. It's very inquiry based. So we're going to be trading lessons and what have you, so that we have it aligned to NGSS by the time in which we need to do that. For this year, most of our teachers are implementing the current FOSS curriculum. And we're really comfortable with that, because what's most important, those cross-cutting concepts and practices, are a part of the work regardless of the alignment in terms of exactly what it is you're studying. Did we want to follow this link or?
Well, real quickly, I think it's interesting. This is just a link to an example of a third grade set of next generation science standards. And so you can just sort of take a look at the format of it. The white portion, the top portion are the performance expectations of the students. And then down below, the three next columns have to do with the actual standards, the practices, the core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. And then a little bit farther down, you can see where they've mentioned the ELA standards that would be appropriate to use with a unit of study with this particular standard, and also the math. So this is something that teachers are going to be looking at and learning how to work with. But really what it is a blueprint for creating a unit of study in science that's very well integrated.
Okay. Alrighty, so in terms of the timeline, on September 4th, NGSS was approved. We weren't certain that was going to happen, but it was approved. And so next up is the arrangement and then the curriculum framework. So those will be the steps that we need in order to move forward.
Emily, what's the arrangement?
Pardon?
What does that mean, arrangement?
Can you speak more to that?
The arrangement of the curriculum.
Yeah, that's arrangement.
Yeah.
Middle school. So right now, middle school has one science topic per year.
Right.
So 6th grade earth
That's
sciences,
yeah.
and 7th life sciences, and 8th physical. So they're talking about integrating the science content. So covering more than one and integrating more than one topic.
Okay, so a new science test
We haven't heard
Had-
anything about that yet.
had to come.
Mhm.
And then the approval of the framework and then implementation. Phoebe, did you have a question?
Oh, I do. So right now, our district is working on developing the curriculum framework, and going to effect not until 2015, or?
There's a slide addressing that. It's coming. But, our district is working on using the materials, the quality science materials that we have right now,
Right.
and learning how to embed the practices and the cross-cutting concepts, as well as how to bring English language arts literacy skills into science content. As far as the curriculum framework, that's something that's being developed in the state and will come down to us. But also I think our work, Bayside is really instrumental in letting us know what's current and what's coming down and helping us learn about that. So we're getting there.
And did we pay a partnership with Bayside, or they just chose us and
They pay us.
We applied to participate. They accepted our participation and they cover all of our sub time.
So our Teacher Leadership Academy, which this year was comprised of 11 folks, participated in 5 days in the summer of teacher leadership training. All of that was stipended, and then over the course of the year, they will spend 3 days at the Lawrence Hall with boosters and planning and articulation to various other groups. On those days, their sub pay is covered. And then we also have a master's group. We have various silos of teachers who are different iterations of this, who are all communicating with each other, and Bayside has provisions for all of them. Just last week, several of us attended an event at the Exploratorium around Bayside. So our hope with Kirsten on hand is that we will grow this group, and it won't feel like silos, but rather more connected.
Yeah, it's one of our goals this year. So there's a lot going on, but the advice is to go slow and keep building awareness. It's going to take a while to understand the next generation science standards, especially the way they're written and the format that they're written. And there were a series of 6 or 7 scenarios that we could choose to follow, and I picked out the 2 that are most likely for Petaluma City Schools to follow, which is use the materials that we have and then embed the practices and cross-cutting concepts and work with the Common Core in our science instruction. So that's what the next slide talks about as well. And there may be some movement of the different kits. So for example, 3rd grade in the next generation science standards will be studying weather, and currently that box is for 1st grade. So there are some shifts here and there that we need to make.
if we could see the top of this. So we've been talking about these interconnections and opportunities for integration, and this really sums this up. What you're looking at is a trifold Venn in which we have the math and English language arts Common Core standards connected to the next generation science standards. And so you can see how the practices rather, how the three are connected and where the opportunities are for teaching, integrated teaching in each of those. This is a slide that we keep coming back to. It's a really good reminder of how important science is and how much it ought to be embedded in the other work that we do.
And I would also add that many of the teachers who are BASI members or have been BASI members, they are involved in other committees. You know, either it's the math committee or the K-12 committee or the writing samples, etc. And so they have these science hats that they also wear into these committees and can help make decisions that help integrate the curriculum and the teaching.
We've said that last year and the beginning of this year we had a district-wide focus on Common Core math, really being ready to implement that, and there will be changes on the report card reflecting what we're doing. In January we're starting our focus on ELA. It's going to be a while before we have a science year, and what we've talked about is we don't think that we really need one because our work is to make sure that science is embedded in every conversation that we have.
These are some of our BASI activities since 2008. So we've had approximately 31 teacher leaders involved and about 5 elementary principals, And in those years, we've provided professional development in science inquiry. We've trained teachers how to use their kits. We've trained teachers how to do notebooking and then focused on the ELA connections with the Common Core and more. This year is the first year that we've had a science coordinator. I can let Emily speak more to how that came about, but I'm very happy to be in the position, having been a member of BASI since 2008, and I think maybe there's only one other teacher who's got the same longevity as I do, but I was thrilled to be able to help grow science education and quality science instruction in the district. We are sending 8 teachers to the California Science Teachers Association conference at the end of this month, so that's going to be a really exciting time for our present cohort to check into workshops that will help them learn about all the things that we've talked about in our PowerPoint here. And all of this is going to be leading up to a mini conference that we put on for elementary teachers where we will, not quite sure, it's because it's later in the year, it's hard to show people new things. It may be that the teachers that we work with this year were able to do a good job having them develop their own classroom practices, and we've done a good job bringing professional development to the sites almost every month that we can do some sharing at that point. That remains to be developed. We also work with a BASI leadership seminar, and that involves some of the BASI teachers as well as administrators. So we meet 3 times a year with the BASI folk to do some district level planning. We're really trying to keep connected with former BASI teachers and get them involved with working with teachers at their sites, or at least knowing what we're doing this year in BASI. My job also has been to try and connect with other people who are connected to science some way in the community. So, of course, SCO, there are lots of resources up there that we're trying to tap into. There's another organization called STRAW that trains teachers and brings kids out to do creek restorations, so I've been in contact with them. And then Friends of the River is another group that are sponsoring project-based learning activities around the river. Teachers have been given stipends to write curriculum around that sort of science curriculum. We're beginning the process of articulating with the secondary teachers. We have 2 teachers, for example, on our BASI leadership committee who are junior high teachers. And I actually have one high school teacher who's going to be on that committee as well. I am working with McNear School on project-based learning as a whole site. They've decided they wanted to explore that, and project-based learning is a great vehicle for science instruction and more. And I'm also working with individual teachers, so I can go in and help them plan lessons and be a resource for them, and also send them resources. I am on the computer quite a bit looking at all these amazing resources that are out there. and hope to create a science resource site for all of the teachers to access soon. And that's a lot.
I just want to say, because while she'll list her work, she won't toot her own horn. It has been such a boon for us science-wise that Bayside has afforded us this opportunity to have Kirsten work with our district in this capacity. So the way that it came to be, you saw some of the districts listed. They're of all different sizes, all different locales. And at each one of our meetings, we do a share out as to our progress. And no one wants to follow Oakland, because they have a science leader who has a group of 12 teachers on special assignment who are all going out into schools and teaching lessons and leading activities, rewriting their writing prompts around science. And so I was always the first to raise my hand to give our report, not wanting to follow this really robust effort that, well, as one person, you just can't do. And so in our meetings, when Bayside came here to talk to Jane and Steve and myself, one of the Bayside folks, Vanessa, asked me how many days during our 180 or 220 or whatever it is we work, did I wake up thinking first and foremost or only about science? And well, it really depends on the day. I said every Bayside day, and it depended on what was happening at my school site, and I was happy to lead this effort. I believe in science. I want our students to get the science education that I didn't receive, but that there was an awful lot on my plate, and to lead science in the way that some other districts were, it seemed impractical. And so what would you do if we extended to you a half-time person? And so Jane and I very excitedly got started with writing a job description for what that would entail. And you're hearing about the science half of her role. The other portion, which is related, is Common Core, and so it's completely interrelated. So
It's a very nice match.
yes. And we're not a bad
Speaking
team.
of not tooting our own horn, she's been a wonderful leader for us for the last couple of years, as well as the other principals too. But it's been tough to run a school and be heading up science as well.
So here we are. Some of the activities that we've done this year, starting way back in the end of July with our helium stick experiment, to some of our notebooking efforts, to some social occasions that we've had together. It's that's Cafe Grazie in Novato, and there we are up at the Exploratorium just a week ago. What has been really nice about this is the way that we've come together as educators, but also just generally as colleagues. We've had this nice time to spend together and to collaborate. So we've been appreciative of that. And we just wanted to close. There's our vision again, and we will be emailing this to you so that you know a little bit more about what we're doing in science. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions?
Yes.
So with the Common Core side, what do you see as the current biggest deficiencies in the science curriculum in the past? Whether it's a depth issue, a scope issue, a continuum issue, what do you identify, say, as the three biggest failings, if you will? Maybe that's not correct. Shortcomings. Let's just call them shortcomings.
I think historically we've thought of curriculum in silos. And so what that then really illustrates is that we can be reading about science, and that is English language arts. In fact, that's more robust English language arts than some of the fiction reading that we're doing out of our Houghton Mifflin text. So this idea that this many minutes is allocated to this curricular area is kind of a false construct. So we're getting permission to teach, I think, the way a lot of us have wanted to for a long time. So I think we're going to see major changes there.
So time to teach science is a real challenge.
And do you think that should be there should be some mandatory time allocated at every grade level?
I don't think that it needs to anymore. I think what we really need to articulate to teachers is that they have the permission. We want them. We have a vision. It's a priority of ours that science is taught. I think Petaluma has been really good about supporting science in terms of making sure that the supplies are provided to teachers. We have an ordering system that gets us so far as I've heard, what we need in a timely fashion so that that's not a holdup. Many districts have that as an issue. You can't teach the lesson because you don't have the eggs, the cartons, the whatever.
The crayfish.
The crayfish. It's a real dud without the crayfish.
Anyone else?
It's in 5th grade still have a standardized test, or do we not know that? In science?
The rumor, what's the rumor now? Yeah.
The most recent rumor?
Yeah.
Well, so all testing is up in the air, and we look to Jane's emails to see what the latest is. But there is talk of there being a new science test, not necessarily just in 5th grade, not necessarily 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
But were you asking whether or not it was happening this year?
Right,
Because there was some talk
Ah.
that science was still being.
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not 2nd grade, everything else.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Johnny and Lauren, I'm sorry to tell you that you are going to have a test this year in science. We've reported. But also just important, it's good that you're both here because I want you to understand how much work your teachers go through in order to effectively teach you. And really what you just heard for the last half hour was a whole bunch of work a whole bunch of people are doing to better teach you science. So when you're sitting there doing your homework thinking, gosh, my teacher hates me because they assign me all this homework, realize they're doing the same thing. They probably actually have more than you. So a whole bunch of people are doing a whole lot of work to give you a better education. So we're all happy about that. I want to thank you both for coming. And I want to invite everybody to stay if you'd like, but we are going to take a real quick break. And anybody that needs to go home and do some homework, have dinner, watch the highlights of the A's game, don't do it.
Yeah.
We'll take 2 minutes, okay? Thank you very much.
No school.
And we're back. Moving on to item I, comments from the public. Do I have any public speakers today? No public speakers. We're going to close public comment. Report on activities and correspondence to school board members. Looks like we had a number of different football and basketball games in the short time since we met last. So, no, I couldn't come up with anything else.
I couldn't, I escapes
Not that
me.
that's not important, but we'll endeavor to do better. Okay, let's go to item K, the consent agenda. I would take a motion.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved as presented. We're going to go right to Administrative Human Resources. Item 2 is a hold item. Recommend a motion that the board approve the service agreement with California School Boards Association to implement a service for electronic distribution of board agenda packet information. Take the motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? I know we've had a
This
lot
is
of
what we
discussion previously.
presented at the last meeting, and now anticipating the November meeting for the training,
Okay.
from 7 to 8 o'clock.
Steve, I saw that they have, it's an annual contract, and the annual renewal fee was $2,500 with no guarantee on that. So what's their cost escalation been in the last few years?
They've been holding the price, so we're hoping that they'll
Okay.
continue to do that.
Okay.
And if we unwound it, I mean, we have all the infrastructure in place to do it the way that we've done it for many years.
Yeah, we could do it as
We could
PDF
revert
files.
back.
I think we'll appreciate the features of the online where you can go
Oh,
back.
clearly. I'm just saying if all of a sudden went to $10,000, we
Yeah.
could go back
We
to
could
the
go
way
back.
that we do it currently.
Yeah.
correct?
Or we could just go back to doing a PDF online ourselves. It's something we had considered doing until I just got the opportunity to view and now I'm participating
I think we're
in
going to like this.
CSB online and it's very good.
I
And
think
we're
we're
going
going
to appreciate the service.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any discussion on any of these first readings, items 3 through 5? On, does anybody have?
I would just like to
questions?
point out on page 30, I believe it's on page 30. Actually, on page 33, a change that we're proposing, and this is consistent with government code, and that is former board members, top of page 30, former board members leaving the board after at least one term of office may participate in the health and welfare benefit program at his or her own expense. So that the board had this in at one time, had changed it to a minimum of 12 years, and now the recommendation is to change it back to one term for the board members to be able to participate, and that's consistent with government.
So this is no cost to the district.
No cost to the district, it's at the member's expense if they
Well, what's,
elect to participate.
historically, what has we done? I read in here, it said that, I think it was on page 32, it says because the district did not pay health and welfare benefits to former board members before January 1st, 1994, then apparently we paid for them after that, after 1994?
No, since we didn't do it prior to 1994, I don't believe we were eligible to do that. So the
Right. It's if you did it before that, as I understood it, Steve, as you did it
that's
before
my
that,
understanding as well.
then you sort of got grandfathered in with an
Yeah.
ability to do it, but since we didn't do that, we don't have that, which is fine.
Yeah, exactly, but are we paying for board members? What do we do?
We're not paying for past board members. If they want to participate.
That's
they do
always
it
been
at
our
their
policy?
expense.
Until you can, but you're eligible to participate in the plan if you want to pay full freight,
Correct,
so to speak, whatever plan we may have.
that's correct. So if this is your best option, for a former board member, you have it available.
Now, do some districts pick up the healthcare board members after a certain length of service or something, to your knowledge?
Not that I'm aware of. But I'm not certain.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking in general.
Any other discussion?
You've been around for a long time, has that always been consistent with our policy?
As far as I can remember, yeah.
Yeah, the board had moved it out to 12 years.
But you're trying to bring it in line with the code, I think that makes sense.
And I think we should just be consistent with what government code is.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, we're not taking a dollar away from anything, right?
Nope, it's not a cost to the district.
Okay. So those were discussion items 3, 4, and 5. Williams settlement? There is no.
Yeah, the report, there were no reports.
Okay, that's item 6. Moving on to the next bold item, which is going to be in business services, purchase order authorization. The recommended motion that the enclosed list of purchase orders be approved in accordance with board policy. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Steve, pay the bills.
No, let's hold it off for a while.
Item 4, list of expenditures. Recommend a motion the board ratify the enclosed list of expenditures.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything on the enrollment report that we need to discuss?
So I think, the numbers are provided for you to see the increases over the projections.
The over and unders.
Decreases. The over and unders are listed to right.
Is that sort of in tune with what,
Well, you can.
I mean, it's.
See, adopted
similar
budget.
to-
So they're all close.
Why don't you walk her through that, Steve, and just tell her how those
So
numbers
if you
come
look
to be.
at page 47,
Yeah,
I'm on the cover page. As you can see, at adopted, we anticipated in elementary 1,659. We're down 7. At Cherry Valley, we went from 402 at budget to 416, so we're up 14. Pingrove, you can see that we're down 24.
that's fine.
We're down 3 at 6th grade academy. And in secondary is the good news. In that we're up currently 116.
No,
126, that's right the first time, yeah.
And you get more money in secondary?
Yes, and we do receive more money in secondary. But secondary is, you have to remember though, the budget is what we expect at P2, and in secondary, we tend to decline. Elementary and junior high stay the
Pretty
same.
static, yeah.
Secondary, we do have some decline, but we've been very fortunate that decline has greatly decreased over recent years, and we're maintaining considerably more students through the second, or P2, which is in the funding period, into the 7th month, than we did several years ago.
That's because our new board members are averaging, 3 kids apiece.
And why do you think that is? That's because we're doing a better job of
Yeah, we're
keeping
doing a
kids
better
at
job.
school.
We're doing a better job keeping kids in school to meet their students' needs and having them engaged.
All right.
Schools are doing an excellent job.
And Steve, any, Pengrove being down 24 like
that's
that, any
surprising.
Yeah, it's
relationship?
really because of the K numbers. There's no PMK at the school, so right there, you're down 25 kids
Oh, wow.
Well,
by not having 3 K classes.
or they just have 2 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Yeah, they used to have 2 a.m. and 1 p.m., and now we have extended day, and they have 2 classes. They only have 2
Did we
classes.
turn people away? Did we have to
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We did turn students away because of not having the capacity.
Got it, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Good to be public.
It is
Very
good
good.
to be full.
All right, moving over to educational services, I think we're gonna go all the way to item 6. And that would be a proclamation, and we like to make proclamations here at the school board. Recommend a motion that the Red Ribbon Week celebration proclamation for October 23rd through 31st, 2013 be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Who would like to speak to that?
Dave, would you like to address Red Ribbon Week?
This is annually when we're going through and we're going to see a lot of different activities at each school site based on whether they're K-6 or secondary. They will have guest speakers, community people that are in there, decorations on their different parts of their campus. Classroom teachers will have a focus on avoidance of substance use and alcohol, and that will be part of the lessons there. Last year we had Friday Night Live at Casa Grande, really put on a great event, and we're looking forward to their plans for this year.
Great. Do I have any speakers from the public on Red Ribbon Week? Anybody here for that?
Not this evening.
Not this evening? All right, I think I've got a motion and a second, so I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes. Item 6. Moving on to item 7, and this will sound familiar because we had a public comment about that early at the beginning of this agenda, or this meeting. A resolution 12-1405, and resolution 12-1405, Petaluma City Elementary School District to fully comply with the requirements of Education Section Codes 60119 through 60252 regarding sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials for the 2013-2014 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
I just have a question. Is it basically that you have to have a textbook for every class in the?
Yeah, that you have to have sufficient textbooks for the classes, correct.
And if the
Some-
class doesn't have textbooks?
Some you have classroom sets, because on our campus, we don't have lockers
Right.
on some of our campuses. Classroom sets, and it's ones for home as well.
So that's a state code.
Correct, it's part of a lawsuit that occurred in school districts a few years ago, where the requirements to certify every year that you have sufficient textbooks, yes.
I was just gonna say, this is what we annually have to certify that in fact we do have textbooks.
And if the classroom doesn't have textbooks, they can contact the district and request them?
Correct. The issue we've had in recent years is that the state doesn't fund textbooks as they have in the past, so we're only replacing, and they haven't adopted recent textbooks since the recession began. So we're replacing existing textbooks for lost and stolen and destroyed.
And what about changes to Common Core? I mean, there's probably not.
At this point,
Newly
yeah,
adopted textbooks
there's not
out
newly
there.
adopted textbooks for Common Core.
Phoebe, you'll learn it never slows the state down to tell us what we have to do,
Right.
but they don't give us the money.
Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the
Secondary version.
secondary version, the same resolution 12-1406, the resolution 12-1406, Petaluma Joint Union High School District to fully comply with the requirements for the Education Code Section 60119 through 60252 regarding sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials. The 2013-2014 school year be adopted. So this is for the Secondary schools, we just got done talking about the elementary schools.
So moved.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 9 and 10, administrative regulations, does anybody have any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move to item 11, future business calendar of activities. So we're up again in 2 weeks, Steve?
Correct, and it'll be routine.
Okay. Nothing to write on. Okay, that's going to be October 22nd at 6 p.m. here at Petaluma City Schools, Administration Building, Boardroom, 200 Douglas Street, Petaluma, California. We'll do some signing of papers. Oh, wait, we have one
report out.
in closed session. So for those of you watching at home, for this meeting, we had a closed session meeting regarding student disciplinary, action. So there was some evidence presented to us, and I'm going to read out this, and then we'll take a vote on what we heard. Case number 2, a case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motion is for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance to board policy, and to allow continued enrollment in a district school under mandated conditions. The student's suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the fall and spring semesters of the 2013-2014 school year. Conditions above are subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse or life skills, counseling program, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
Motion. Need a motion, so moved.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries for, okay, now, going back to, got through signing the papers in a routine nature, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's call it a night.